dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday to you, Mountain family. I'm Amelia Lee here on this September 26th. It's 5 o'clock this morning and time for a check of our weather with Megan Dusmal. And it's been a little bit rainy still. I didn't see any of that rain yesterday, which was good for me, but I'm looking forward to fall.
Yeah, and we're starting to see those temperatures get a little bit cooler in the mornings. However, that's not so much the trend today, as we're looking at a mixture of the low to mid 60s as you're heading out the door. In fact, as we look towards more of our eastern counties, that's where we see some of those cooler than average temperatures. Cooler than the rest of the region's temperatures in the low 60s, 60 in Clintwood, 61 in Wise. Normally this time of year when you head out the door, we look at about 56 degrees. This afternoon, though, we will be looking at a mixture of the upper 70s and, for some folks, the low 80s, 80 degrees for Manchester and Middlesboro. But the main thing that I want to highlight for you as you're heading out the door will be dense fog, especially for our more northern counties. Please be careful as you're heading out the door. This dense patchy fog is definitely in the forecast, and we are looking at just a little bit of some sprinkles this morning. A lot calmer than the trend that we've seen the past couple of days, though. There's the good news there. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan. James Comey, once the nation's highest-ranking law enforcement official, is now under criminal indictment. The former FBI director is set to be arraigned in a Virginia federal courtroom in 2 weeks. Thursday, a grand jury indicted Comey on 2 charges: obstruction of a congressional proceeding and making a false statement, both connected to Comey's testimony before a Senate committee in 2020, during which he denied authorizing the leak of information to the press 4 years earlier.
I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial. My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump.
According to court documents, the grand jury rejected an additional count of lying to Congress. The federal judge assigned to the case is a Biden appointee. President Donald Trump signed an executive order yesterday allowing TikTok to continue operating in the U.S. under a new business structure. The president says Chinese President Xi gave the go-ahead to proceed with the deal. The White House says the new deal will create a joint venture based in the United States with U.S. investors and owners and a majority of Americans on the board of directors. Well, the Trump administration is threatening mass firings at federal agencies if the government shuts down next week. Democrats accuse the president's budget director of using a threat of layoffs for leverage. House Republicans recently proposed a short-term funding extension, but the measure failed in the Senate. Congress is currently adjourned, and there are no votes scheduled in the House before the October 1st shutdown deadline. Since 2018, it's been federal law to have backup cameras in all new vehicles. New research out today shows since that law was implemented, there's been a significant decrease in injury and death rates in small children. CBS's Bradley Blackburn introduces us to a man who advocated for that change based on his own harrowing experience 30 years ago this week.
31-year-old Patrick Iveson has no memory of ever walking. At 14 months old, he got out of a car with his mom and the driver backed up, pinning his small body behind the rear passenger wheel.
The back passenger side bumper clipped me and pulled me out of her hand, and then the tire ran my head over.
Iveson suffered a spinal cord injury and only regained some mobility after the accident.
I'm still technically a quadriplegic because I have impairment in all four limbs.
Federal law as of 2018 requires backup cameras in all new vehicles. New research from UT Health Houston found that mandate is associated with a nearly 50% reduction in severe injuries and 78% fewer deaths in children.
And this was really astounding to us.
Dr. Natalie Drucker says the research was prompted after she and her colleagues began to see a drop in these traumas.
We had an anecdotally noticed that over the past several years, we've been seeing fewer backover injuries whereas several years ago it was very common.
While that's welcome news, backup camera technology isn't in all vehicles on the roads today. And doctors say those with older cars or no ability to upgrade them are still at risk.
You can't avoid hitting something that you can't see.
Amber Rollins with the organization Kids in Car Safety says ongoing advocacy is key.
Even still today, most people don't know that you can add a rear view camera to your vehicle if it doesn't already have one.
Iveson says the first thing he did when he started driving an older van was install a backup camera.
It's so cheap to do. If you have an older car, I don't see any sense in not adding one.
A small investment that can make a huge difference. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
The organization Kids in Car Safety says now that backup cameras are standard, the cost of aftermarket cameras has gone down significantly. You can find one ranging from $30 to $40, all the way up to a couple $100. Well, Governor Andy Beshear announced new changes coming to juvenile justice facilities right here in Kentucky. The governor signed 2 emergency regulations yesterday. One addresses isolation policies in youth detention centers. This new regulation would require leadership approval before a youth is put in isolation. It also orders staff to be trained on this policy and make sure isolation is not excessively used and is used safely.
We've also created opportunities for youth to have goals and to work towards something. Through a partnership with the Kentucky Department of Education and the Department of Career and Technical Education, juveniles can now participate in vocational programs for future employment.
He also has ordered every DJJ facility to have a mental health treatment director. Governor Beshear says when he first took office, the juvenile justice system had not really changed in more than 20 years. Well, the governor announced 3 build-ready sites at Spida, Commerce Park, and Pulaski County. These are being built to attract new businesses to the area. Pulaski County Judge Executive Marshall Todd says having the build-ready sites is a game changer for the county and sends a message to businesses that the county is serious about growth. A fight over the future of THC-infused drinks and food products has Senator Mitch McConnell at odds with Kentucky hemp farmers. 58 farmers signed a letter to McConnell warning the senator not to criminalize their harvest. Jim Higdon co-founded Cornbread Hemp, selling THC gummies and seltzer in compliance with the 0.3 limit. But Senator McConnell now accuses companies like Cornbread Hemp of trying to make a quick buck by taking legal amounts of THC from hemp and turning it into intoxicating substances.
McConnell did a 180 on his own legislation and is seeking to make all THC from hemp illegal, which would eliminate all of our products from legitimate commerce.
A spokesman for McConnell says the senator is talking with interested parties. Senator Rand Paul says he supports hemp farmers on this issue. Well, thanks so much for getting your day started with us on Mountain News this morning at 5:08. We'll take you to a place in Louisiana where you can literally stop and smell the roses.
And the newest update to the drought monitor has been released.